Good evening and welcome to the national news broadcast on ChannelEye. We are ready to bring you the top stories from home and around the world. I'm Natalia Veervardhana.
Hello there, good evening. I'm Niket Karnaratna. We'll start off with the headlines as usual.
Steps to inquire from the Public Service Commission over appointments and transfers of medical officers. Country will not face a food shortage, Minister Mahindananda says. Health authorities say the country will be uplifted to a positive level if all above the age of 20 opt to receive the booster shot. A surge of corona infections in Australia. 2 killed from an explosion in a court complex in Punjab.
And on the main story for tonight, the 77th anniversary of International Civil Aviation was celebrated under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka, Katunayake, this morning. President Rajapaksa engaged in a cordial discussion with the employees of the Civil Aviation Authority and then visited the exhibition which showcased the creations made by the innovators on civil aviation. A work by artist Ravindra Dissanayake was also presented to the President. President Rajapaksa presented awards to 5 seniors in the field of civil aviation in recognition of their contribution to the advancement of the civil aviation sector. 3 students symbolizing 1,000 students who won a competition organized by the Civil Aviation Authority during the COVID-19 pandemic period also received awards from the President. Subsequently, the President's attention was directed on 3 short videos produced on the civil aviation field in Sri Lanka in wave of the celebration. 77 years ago, in 1944, after World War II, the Chicago Convention for the Regulation and Coordination of Aviation was signed by 26 nations. As a result, the International Civil Aviation Organization was established. Sri Lanka became a member of the organization on 1st of June 1948, and the ICAO currently has a membership of 193 countries. On 7th December 1912, the first domestic flight took place at the racecourse ground in Colombo, adding a new chapter to the history of aviation in Sri Lanka. The International Civil Aviation Day is celebrated in December each year to commemorate these events. The chairman of the Civil Aviation Authority, Upul Dharmadasa, presented a memento to the President to mark his visit. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga and State Minister D.V. Chanaka were also present at this occasion.
The strike action launched by the Government Medical Officers Association based on several demands continued for the 4th day today. As a result, patients who had visited hospitals for treatments were also severely affected due to the ongoing strike action. Meanwhile, a doctor stationed at Bhagavantalava Divisional Hospital tended to the treatments of patients who had visited the hospital. The support of the other hospital staff members has also been extended for the treatments. Director of Gampaha Hospital, Dr. Saman Patirana, said that the hospital operations were carried out without any disruptions.
The Ministry of Health has entered into a program to consider the issues related to the strike initiated by the medical officers. These decisions were reached during a meeting held yesterday between the Ministry of Health, the ministry officials and Government Medical Officers Association. A decision has been reached to conduct another consultative meeting with all the relevant professionals to take a decision on annual transfers of specialist-grade medical officers. It was decided to publish the annual transfers of the other specialist-grade medical officers at the earliest. As per the discussion, a decision was reached to obtain further clarifications from Public Service Commission, Director General of Management Services and Director General Establishment regarding the role of Transfer Board and trade unions on post-intern appointments of the medical officers. An agreement was reached to attend if there are any crisis situations or maldistributions or any violations of merit order and rectify if any. Ministry of Health has already attended the issues pertaining to Ambilipitia, Muttur and Madiragiri hospitals, according to a ministry statement. Ministry of Health has already discussed and requested further clarification from the Public Service Commission over the effective date of the annual transfers of grade medical officers. Minister has already taken necessary steps to appoint a committee with the chairmanship of a retired appeal court judge to probe into the matters on medical service minute amendments. Minister of Health has already prepared and forwarded the necessary documents reference to the election regulations of Sri Lanka Medical Council for legal draftsmen in order to expedite the election process. In addition, Minister Kelly Rambukwala has stressed that he has not politically intervened to any routine appointments, transfers or any other routine activities of the ministry or violate any instructions given by the state administrative authorities. The minister has declared in a media statement undersigned by the Director General of Health Services that he will not engage in any political interference on the administrative procedures of the ministry.
Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage says that a food shortage will not occur in the country. Issuing a statement to the media, the minister said that 90 to 95% of paddy fields in every district have been cultivated at present. A review meeting was held with the participation of the agriculture officers stationed across the country on the amount of presently cultivated paddy fields in the country. The meeting was held with the participation of Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage and State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksha. The secretaries and the officials of the ministry and the state ministry were also present at the meeting. Also, district agriculture officers, agrarian development deputy commissioners, district fertilizer directors and provincial agriculture directors took part in the meeting. District-level details, including the number of paddy fields cultivated in the Maha season, expected yield, distribution of fertilizer and usage of fertilizer were presented during the meeting. They pointed out that 90% of the paddy fields have been cultivated and 70 to 75% of paddy yield can be harvested this season compared to the previous season. Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage said that the representatives of chemical fertilizer companies have alleged that the country will face a food shortage in the future. However, he said that a review meeting was held with all agriculture field officers and 800,000 have been cultivated. He further said that a minor decline may occur in the production, but they have assured that no food shortage would occur in the country. He added that the fertilizer required for vegetable cultivations have been imported and the relevant consignments will arrive in the country in January. The minister pointed out that the majority of the protests and objections were raised from Polonnaruwa district. He said that 25% of decline in production may occur. He further said that even though a 30% reduction in cultivations would occur in the Maha season compared to the Yala season, the food security of the country will not be affected. The government has decided to permit the importation of chemical fertilizer, yet subsidies for paddy cultivation will only be given for organic fertilizer, the minister added. He further said that several seasons will be taken to obtain the full results of the present efforts taken by the government. He also said that liquid fertilizer will not be distributed from January 1st. He said that they are expecting to distribute top-grade solid fertilizer among the farmers.
Meanwhile, the Colombo Commercial High Court has indicated that its decision on extending or revoking the interim order preventing People's Bank from proceeding with the payment to the Chinese company, which had deployed a consignment of fertilizer consists of harmful pathogens, including bacteria, and its local agent will be delivered on the 6th of January. Accordingly, Justice Pradeep Hettiarachchi has informed that the imposed interim order will be extended until the next scheduled date of the court hearing. The relevant order was issued when the petition filed by Colombo Commercial Fertilizer Limited was taken up for hearing today. During a previous hearing, the petitioners informed the court that the respondent China-based Qingdao Seawing Biotech Group of Limited Companies Limited took steps to ship a disinfected fertilizer consignment worth more than 1 billion rupees, according to a contract procured through a tender process to Sri Lanka. Accordingly, the petitioners further said that the respondent Chinese company was required to ship consignment of disinfected fertilizer. The company has admitted in its shipping advice that the consignment consists of microorganisms. Mentioning that the National Plant Quarantine Services had confirmed the existence of microorganisms including bacteria in the sample sent by the respondent Chinese company, the petitioners informed the court that the respondent had failed to adhere to the terms of the agreed tender contract. Accordingly, the petitioners requested the court to issue an interim order preventing the People's Bank from proceeding with the payment to be made through a letter of credit to the respondent Chinese company and its local agent. After taking up the petition filed by a Ceylon fertilizer company for hearing, Colombo Commercial High Court Judge Priyantha Fernando informed that the decision to extend or revoke the issued interim order will be delivered on the 6th of January. President's counsel Nihal Fernando, appearing on behalf of the respondents, informed the court that any agreement to resolve the relevant issue will be notified to the courts through a motion.
The epidemiology unit has said that if all citizens above the age of 20 years opt to receive the booster shot and ensure their protection, then the country can be uplifted to a positive level amidst the arrival of other variants of COVID-19. Chief of the Epidemiology Unit, Dr. Samita Ginige, urged the public to receive the relevant vaccines without any delay, since 7 patients with the Omicron variant have been detected from the country. Chief of the Epidemiology Unit, Dr. Samita Ginige, said that with the available evidence and data, it has been proven that those who received the additional dose of vaccine are protected to a greater extent from the variants of COVID-19, including Omicron. He added that as per the objective of health authorities, 98% of the targeted age group of above 16 years has been inoculated with the first dose of a vaccine, while 85% has received both doses. He said that the country has adequate quantities of vaccine doses for the national immunization program along with an effective inoculation methodology. However, he pointed out that the responsibility to receive the vaccine is vested with the public. Therefore, he requested the public to receive their vaccines before the beginning of the festive season.
වැඩ කටයුතු පවත්වාගෙන යනතත් ඒ බණ වසරෙත් ඒක දිගටම පවත්වා ගන්න ඕන නම් අපි හැමෝම අපේ යුතුයකම ඉෂ්ට කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒක සමාජ වගකීමක්, පුද්ගල වගකීමක්. ඒක නොපිළිහෙලා ඉටු කරන්න ප්‍රමාද වෙන්න එපා. ප්‍රමාද වෙලා ලෙඩේ හැදලා සංකූලතා ඇවිල්ලා සමහර මරණය වුණත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ප්‍රමාදයේ පසුතැවිල්ලට මුල වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
A total of 32,803,940 vaccine doses have been inoculated to the people in the country under the COVID immunization program. Accordingly, 15,976,157 persons have received the first dose of the vaccine, while 13,821,374 have received both doses. A total of 3,006,409 people have received the booster dose thus far. The island-wide program to inoculate the booster vaccine for those who are above the age of 20 was conducted successfully today. Meanwhile, 472 COVID-19 infected persons were detected in the country today. The number of active cases in the country is at 8,708. A total of 301 recoveries were reported today, increasing the overall tally to 558,527. The Director General of Health Services confirmed 21 COVID-19 related deaths which had occurred yesterday. Registrar of Malwata Chapter, Dr. Pahamune Sri Sumangalathera, said that the bhikkhu ordaining procedures, which were halted in the previous year and this year due to COVID-19 outbreak, will be held on the 12th of January.
And now to take a look at the global situation of the pandemic, moving to Australia, whereas Australia has reported a major spike in coronavirus infections a day after Prime Minister Scott Morrison rejected lockdowns or mask mandates to slow the spread of the Omicron variant. Meanwhile, COVID-19 has infected more than 277 million people and 5.3 million deaths are being reported worldwide. Australia has reintroduced COVID-19 curbs including mandated mask wearing indoors, capacity limits and QR code check-ins to cover most of the population as daily infections hit a fresh record on Thursday. The explosion of infections driven by the spread of the Omicron variant has created a risk of healthcare workers being fulfilled by tested positive. China has locked down the Xi'an city of 13 million in a bid to extinguish a COVID-19 outbreak and chase its zero-case goal as other nations around the globe battles huge infection surges driven by Omicron. The move is reminiscent of similar measures adopted in central city of Wuhan in January 2020 when the virus first emerged. The Chinese government is attempting to maintain a zero-case strategy ahead of the Winter Olympics in February. Organizers of the Beijing Winter Olympics have said that they expect a surge in COVID-19 cases in China due to foreigners arriving for the Games and have strongly urged participants to get vaccination boosters due to the spread of the Omicron variant.
Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, says that the vast majority of hospitalizations and deaths due to COVID-19 are among the unvaccinated and those who are yet to receive the booster shot. He further said that the existing vaccines in the world remain effective against both the Delta and the Omicron variants.
It's frankly difficult to understand how a year since the first vaccines were administered, 3 in 4 health workers in Africa remain unvaccinated. While some countries are now rolling out blanket booster programs, only half of WHO's member states have been able to reach the target of vaccinating 40% of their populations by the end of the year because of distortions in global supply. Enough vaccines were administered globally this year that the 40% target could have been reached in every country by September if those vaccines had been distributed equitably through COVAX and AVAT. The WHO Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization, or SAGE, is issuing an interim statement on booster dose. SAGE concluded that the focus of immunization must remain on decreasing deaths and severe disease, and expressed concern that blanket booster programs will exacerbate vaccine inequity. About 20% of all vaccine doses administered every day are currently being given as boosters or additional doses. Blanket booster programs are likely to prolong the pandemic rather than ending it by diverting supply to countries that already have high levels of vaccination coverage, giving the virus more opportunity to spread and mutate. It's important to remember that the vast majority of hospitalizations and deaths are in unvaccinated people, not unboosted people. And we must be very clear that the vaccines we have remain effective against both the Delta and Omicron variants.
The annual Christmas Carol concert of the children in Carlton preschool branches of Colombo, Maligavatta and Mount Lavinia was held yesterday. The concert was held with the participation of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Bringing the spirit of Christmas, the preschool children showcased colourful performances at the concert. The children received gifts at the conclusion of the concert. Principal and Director of Carlton Preschool Group, spouse of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Shiranti Vikramasinghe Rajapaksa, was also present at the concert. First Lady Mrs. Ayoma Rajapaksa, Ministers Johnston Fernando and Namal Rajapaksa, State Minister Sanat Nishanta and spouses of the ambassadors of Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, United States, Myanmar and Australia were also present at the occasion. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force for One Country, One Law in Sri Lanka, Venerable Galagodapte Gnanasara Thera, says that representatives of many civil societies and individuals continue to submit suggestions and views to the Presidential Task Force. The opportunity was given from the 20th until today to submit suggestions and opinions to the office established at the BMICH. Representing various provinces and civil societies, religious leaders, civil activists, media personnel, professionals, political party representatives, and entities representing Muslim and Buddhist religious organizations and women's organizations have submitted their suggestions and views to the task force office in the last couple of days. Venerable Gnanasara Thera has said that the majority in the north and east expecting this concept to be a reality, and it could be a major stimulate for the country's development. He further said that his office will continue to remain open for the suggestions of the interested parties. Venerable Galagodapte Gnanasara Thera has indicated that the task force has been entrusted with the duty to formulate a new draft bill on One Country, One Law after conducting a study, and the relevant draft bill will be formulated within the stipulated time frame in a transparent manner. Members of the task force, including Secretary to the One Country, One Law Presidential Task Force, Jivanti Senanayake, was also present on the occasion.
The management of the Lanka Satosa Limited has decided to provide bonus payments for permanent employees. The ceremony to present the bonus payments was held today with the participation of Minister Bandula Gudavardhana. The Lanka Satosa Limited was able to extend the bonus payments after recording an operational profit and limiting the losses incurred during the year. The ceremony to extend the bonus payments for all permanent employees was held at the Satosa head office. Lanka Satosa recorded a loss of 2,000 million rupees in the year 2015 and it was increased up to 5,010 million rupees in 2016. However, the institution was able to reduce the loss up to 1,300 million rupees in the previous year after Lanka Satosa carried out the island-wide distribution of essential commodities during the COVID pandemic. Accordingly, this year's loss has been recorded as 800 million rupees. The management of Lanka Satosa has been able to record an operational profit within the past 3 months. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers reached a decision to extend bonus payment worth 30,000 rupees each for permanent employees. 323 persons in Tissamaharama Divisional Secretariat Division have received title deeds and ownership permits. The ceremony was held with the participation of Minister Chamal Rajapaksa at the Tissamaharama Divisional Secretariat yesterday. Symbolizing the handing over of the title deeds, 50 selected beneficiaries received the relevant title deeds and 50 others received ownership permits. A PCR machine purchased with the support of Madhuravithana Foundation donors was presented to Kalubovila Teaching Hospital yesterday. The event was held with the participation of parliamentarian Madhuravithana.
The 33rd National Youth Games concluded yesterday. The sports festival was held at the Sugathadasa Stadium. Close to 3,000 athletes took part in this year's sports festival. The 3-day-long Youth Games was held under 2 age categories, with under 20 and above 20. The sports festival was consisted of 17 men's and women's athletic events. The most outstanding female youth athlete of the tournament was Sauri Lakshima Mendis, who claimed the new record in the 400 meters event. ASK Dias won the most outstanding male youth athlete award for his new record in the 110 meters hurdles event. The ceremony to present certificates and awards was held with the participation of Minister Namal Rajapaksa.
An express train service between Colombo Fort and Badulla will commence from today and tomorrow. The first train between Colombo Fort and Badulla is scheduled to commence from Colombo Fort at 8:30 p.m. today. The train from Badulla is set to leave at 5:50 p.m. tomorrow. The night express is equipped with modern facilities.
Veteran practical psychology trainer and renowned speaker on positive thinking, Chandana Gunavardhana, had passed away last night. He was 60 years at the age of his demise. Late Chandana Gunavardhana was hospitalized during the last couple of weeks due to an ailment. A graduate of Sri Jayawardhanapura University, he obtained his postgraduate degree on journalism from the University of Moscow. Late Chandana Gunavardhana had received international training on positive thinking and had rendered immense service as a resource person through many media platforms. He made an immense contribution to the program Ilakhe, which was commenced in 2003 and had rendered his assistance to uplift the field of leadership training through various programs. He had also authored 37 books on various subjects, including mental strength. He had also conducted close to 370 community development programs free of charge and had contributed with his speeches in the Vision program on the national television a couple of weeks before his demise. His remains will be kept at a private funeral parlour in Buralla from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. tomorrow. The final rites will be held at 4:30 p.m. That's all the news for today. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.